What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the BallGame podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
I'm Joe.
As you can see, honorary third member may be on future Thursdays as well. We're going to see. Tom's not going to be able to do Thursdays with us anymore for the foreseeable future. School gets in the way, work gets in the way, a whole bunch of stuff. But Joe Cruz is here. You've seen him a few times, and we're very happy to have him back. Today we're going to be giving our awards predictions. Joe Cruz is the honorary BallGame member, and he's going to be talking about awards. So, it doesn't fit any better. The greatest fourth member of a podcast that we could ever have. So if that was ever an award, it's yours, buddy. But yeah, so NFL season is upon us a week from tonight. A week from tonight of this recording. It is here. We're going to kick things off with the Ravens and the Chiefs, a rematch of the AFC Championship, and everything is right in front of us. Just power through one more week, and NFL football is here. And look, football's back in general because college football week 1 is upon us as well. Week 0 was electric. Georgia Tech with the upset of the year already potentially over Florida State.
That was a crazy game.
That was a nutty-ass game. And that was a great way to kick off football in general. I mean, what better way to do it than with a college football upset? So a bunch of great college football games this week as well. I'm pretty sure there's 3 or 4 ranked matchups where both are in the top 25. So it's going to be an electric weekend. We have college football tonight, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Labor Day weekend is upon us. So enjoy your Labor Day weekend, 3-day weekend for all of you. So here we are, guys.
3-day weekend and draft weekend.
Yes.
And with that, we had our 32-man draft Tuesday. If you guys missed that, go check it out, our annual 32-man league. But we also announced that we launched a Patreon. And on that Patreon, we have a $4 membership. If you subscribe, you get an extra video from us every week, and you get our betting picks for the week. So going live sometime tomorrow, you'll be getting a video about us talking about fantasy football deep sleepers, the guys in the last 2-3 rounds of the draft to pick up, stash on the end of your bench, and maybe they could turn into something. So it's draft season. We're going to try and help you guys out there. And we're going to have some NFL season-long betting picks going live on the Patreon. So make sure you guys go in the description, hit that link, and sign up for the Patreon. Show some support.
Also, you'll be in the chat to give us any critiques, any messages that you feel like sending to us. If you guys have suggestions for future video ideas, video segments, anything like that, stuff that we could add to the Patreon to make things better for you guys. So just please let us know. All the suggestions are definitely welcome. So, all right, fellas, let's do this. NFL awards predictions. So, of course, we're going to have to start with the biggest award in the NFL. And naturally, that's Coach of the Year. No, we're going to start with MVP, obviously. So this year, it feels obvious. It does. So I didn't want to be obvious with my pick. The obvious MVP pick is Patrick Mahomes. You gave the best quarterback in the NFL a whole bunch of weapons again. So what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, he's probably going to win the MVP, but I didn't want to pick him. I picked a guy that has quite the opposite situation this year, similar to what Patrick Mahomes dealt with last year. He doesn't have many weapons, and that's Josh Allen. Josh Allen had 15 rushing touchdowns last year. I expect him to have a crazy number of them again, and if this man could show us that he could carry a team with a limited supporting cast, I mean, why not? The narrative's there, and obviously, trying to play footsies with me, Joe Cruz? Jeez. Obviously, the opportunity is there for them to win the division. If they somehow shock a lot of people and win the division, then, even more of an argument for him. Because I think it's only been like 4 or 5 times in NFL history that the MVP has not won their division, and only two of those times was a quarterback. So the odds are stacked against him if he doesn't win the division. But I think there's a clear opportunity that he does. Given the Jets and the turmoil in that organization that we always have. And then who knows with the Dolphins, and the Patriots are completely out of it. So I think it's wide open for Josh. I think he could potentially have the best season of his career, while not the best statistics, the best season of his career. And I think that could translate to MVP votes in a similar way to how we view him just dominating. And last year, how he didn't have the best statistics in the world, finished, I think, as the runner-up, And, I could see a similar situation with a worse supporting cast, and the narrative would be backing him. So if he could cut down on the turnovers, have similar touchdown production, why not Josh? This is the year.
I just don't know how taking weapons away from Josh Allen is going to get him the MVP. I think the Bills showed last year that the direction they kind of want to go to is leaning less on Josh Allen and relying more on the overall run game and relying on the defense a little bit, even though I personally think the defense is a little bit shaky, but they don't have the personnel in terms of offensive playmakers, I think, to support an MVP season from Josh Allen. And listen, the 15 rushing touchdowns it's great and all, and it was awesome last year, especially for fantasy. It's just not sustainable in my eyes. I don't know if relying on a guy to get 15 rushing touchdowns is sustainable, and it's not like in this case for Josh Allen, like him losing rushing touchdowns towards his box score is gonna help him put up more passing stats in a way, because I think their passing game is gonna be more limited than years past. I just think overall, I think it's kind of a retooling year for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, I said this on our AFC East preview a month ago, but I think they're kind of in a retooling stage and kind of fixing this roster for, I don't know, I'm not going to say one last shot, but another shot of building around Josh Allen. They kind of had that core that they had the past few years. They aged out. Diggs is gone. Gabe Davis is gone. Some key pieces on the defense are gone. They're kind of going a little bit younger. Joe Brady's there now. So I think it's kind of a retooling year, and I think it's not, I don't think it's going to be a down year for Josh Allen. I still think he's going to be great, but I just think there's other guys who are going to be also putting up really, really good numbers on better teams, if that makes sense.
No, and I get it, but I see this as I think there's potential opportunity for Josh to just be able to spread the ball around. There's no, I know that could be a detriment to a point where there's no Diggs now. So that's defensive attention is no longer focused on this one guy. But I think now you have Dalton Kincaid. James Cook will get a bunch of work out of the backfield. We saw that last season with the Joe Brady offense. And then I think Keon Coleman, I think Khalil Shakir, I think a bunch of these receivers will just manage to make it work. I mean,
they moved Matt Collins ahead of Keon Coleman on their latest depth chart. No shoes, Matt Collins.
Yeah, I know that's the Mac is if you haven't heard any interviews
depth
of
chart
Mac,
don't matter.
It's just something to note.
It is.
Bijan was RB3 last year on the depth chart.
Yeah, I don't fully believe in the depth chart until week one. Like, who's starting?
Yeah.
Like, who is starting game one of the season? So, I mean, who knows? But in the end, I think if Josh ends up with 4,200 to 4,400 passing yards, which I still think is very much in the cards, as much as they may want to scale back on his usage, your defense may not allow you to. And overall, Josh Allen is still Josh Allen. You have one of the best arms in the entire league. I don't think there's a world where he throws for less than 4,000 passing yards. I just don't think that's a thing. And I think he will be more conservative with the turnovers this year, because we saw that in the second half of last season as well. And he's the goal line back. Nothing here changes. It is just, he is the goal line back. That's how they run their offense. James Cook simply isn't a factor once they get within the 10. We assume his rushing touchdowns will go up, but Josh Allen's still going to have 10 at minimum, I think, because they're a force no matter what. When you have Josh Allen there, they're a force on offense. And I think if you get close to 4,800, 5,000 total yards, and upwards of 35 touchdowns overall for a team without a legit number one receiver, and I think narrative plays into it in a way. Of course, stats need to be there as well, but I think you win the division. He has a dominant year and does it all without his number one wide receiver. I think it's a clear path for Josh, in my opinion.
I mean, he had 29 passing touchdowns and 15 rushing last
44
year.
total last
year.
year.
I mean, and that wasn't enough to win it, and they won the division last year.
That was without Mahomes involved.
Yeah, so I could see his passing touchdown scaling back to a 24, even if the turnovers
I don't know.
scale back. I think the passing touchdowns will scale back without Stephon Diggs there, without Gabe Davis there. Curtis Samuel's cool. Khalil Shakir's cool. Keon Coleman's cool. But I think their passing offense is going to take a hit. And like I alluded to earlier, the rushing touchdown numbers it's not going to be 15 again. Can it easily still be 10 plus? Absolutely. But I don't think Josh Allen, I predict he takes a slight hit in terms of box score rushing wise. The impact will still be there. I agree with you. He is the goal line back for this offense. I just think the law of averages, it's going to go down. It's not going to be 15 again. I'd be shocked.
If it is.
I'd be shocked. And
if it is.
Like I said, I expect his passing numbers to go down slightly. So if it wasn't enough last year, is it going to be enough this year? Yeah, maybe he'll have the storyline going for him since Diggs isn't there, but there's a number of guys who have storylines going for them. I mean, you look at a guy like a CJ Stroud, you look at a guy like a Joe Burrow coming back for his vengeance.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Burrow
a
was
number.
in consideration heavily.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a number of guys who also have the storyline. So, a Jared Goff, like, there's a number of guys who have the storyline. So, I just think what I predict to be a decline in overall box score stats, because whether we like it or not, at the end of the day, box score stats are going to be a rather important argument in MVP.
Yes, but we saw Lamar do it last year with lesser box.
But they were
stats.
right. But they were also the best team in the NFL by far.
Yeah,
That's
and
not going to
I
happen for the
agree.
He
Bills.
stepped up on like those games that he needed.
Yeah. Yeah, they also they didn't just have a good record. They beat
They
all the
dominated.
great teams. Yeah, they dominated every
So,
time they played a great
If the
team.
Bills got a couple, say they beat Kansas City in the game that they play this year, they win the division.
I mean,
go
yeah,
12-5.
winning the division and winning the AFC and being the best team in football are two completely different things. So you know what I mean? Like they could win the
Do you think
division.
they have to be the one seed in that case for Josh to be up there.
Given some of the seasons that I think other guys are gonna have, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I think at least the 2 seed.
Got it.
Yeah.
You know, they have to really win some games because, like I said, there are a bunch of other guys who I think are going to put up numbers, but they're going to win more games. So they have to, as a team, they have to really outperform expectations because the expectation for them is, according to Vegas, the expectation for them is to win the division.
A lot of people don't have that.
But right, according
Vegas,
to odds, they should win the division. So exceeding expectations for them in their case is being a top dog in the AFC, which I personally don't predict this year, and I think he's going to need that. I mean, I'll just go into it. My pick for the MVP was Pat Mahomes. He sits at plus 450 on FanDuel. It's no shocker. I mean, he's the best quarterback we've ever seen touch a football, and the offense got significantly better. I mean, Rashee Rice isn't going to get suspended, you know, and guys are paid, man. Creed Humphrey, the richest center in all of football. Travis Kelce just got a $100 million deal for his podcast. Guys are paid. Guys are situated. Guys are happy. It's just like the perfect puzzle. You know, the one weakness was the ability to stretch the field deep. You had a Hollywood Brown who's starting the season hobbled up, but when Hollywood Brown's on the field, he will have an impact in this type of offense just because of his field stretching ability. They spent a first-round pick on Xavier Worthy. His field stretching ability will change this offense compared to MVS and Kadarius Toney and Mecole Hardman taking meaningful reps. I mean, you have Isaiah Pacheco going into his third year. I mean, I heard on Nerd Sesh, they drew on talking about the AFC West, and they were talking about is Isaiah Pacheco going into this year the best running back Mahomes ever played with. And they mentioned the 10 weeks of Kareem Hunt in Mahomes' first year, who's better than Pacheco. But Pacheco entering his prime, overall, I mean, yeah, they used to have Tyreek, so it's going to be close. But overall, including the offensive line, because in the Tyreek days, the offensive line was a little bit weaker, I think this might be the best offense they've put out in the Mahomes era, overall, top to bottom. So,
crazy enough.
I mean, there's a world where he shatters everything he did in the 2018 season. He's my pick to win the MVP. I think he could literally just run away with it, honestly. I was thinking about this morning when I was getting my notes and whatever ready. I'm not going to predict them to go 17-0, but like if any team was going to do it in the last like 5 years or so, like this is the team. I mean, they're fucking loaded. They're fucking loaded on both sides of the ball, and they have the best player ever and a top 10 coach in football history.
Yeah.
They have the coordinators, like they have the personnel, they have the chemistry. They've been there, done that before. Like this team, I mean, they're going to be favored in every single game they play.
But I don't think they would do that because of the fact that they're going to coast at certain points, I feel like they're at that point now where it's like, all right, we don't really like they'll sleepwalk
Yeah,
into
but this
13
is the
and
best
4.
offense they've had in 3 years since Tyreek left. So I think Mahomes and Andy Reid could like go through the first few weeks and be like, damn, this is pretty fun what we got going on here. Like, let's shatter every single record there ever was in a single season.
Okay. Yeah, I just
they could shatter every single offensive record as a unit.
Sleepwalk into 13
That's what I'm saying.
4. That's my thing. Like they could sleepwalk into 13 and 4.
They could be the best offense in NFL history.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah, for sure.
it's that
just
simple,
whether they
yeah.
care or not to do it this
Yeah, so I mean, he's the easy pick. As a sleeper and just kind of as a betting strategy, I guess maybe I could have saved this for like a Patreon video, but I'll drop some free knowledge in the BallGame podcast, the full podcast. It's a homer pick, but it's my boy Tua. He's sitting at plus 2,000 on FanDuel. Here's the thing. The Dolphins, what's the consensus about the Dolphins? They collapse.
They can't.
Yeah.
They can't be good
get it
teams
done.
at the end of the season. They collapse when it's time to clinch the division, clinch a playoff spot. They collapse. But what the past 2 years have shown us is weeks 1 through 9, Miami Dolphins might be the best football team of all time. And Tua Tagovailoa will put up numbers when it's warm out, when the schedule is light, when they're playing against good teams. So why not take him at plus 2,000? Leave the money in there for 5-6 weeks. Watch him be number 1 on the MVP ladder and
That's
pull it
right,
out before he collapses.
Yeah.
Or be a risky man and leave it in there. Maybe he doesn't collapse, but honestly, I think it's a money glitch. I just think you look at the Dolphins schedule. I mean, I'll just pull it up just to drop some games, but
Just put someone in there and then cash out.
I mean, there's
glitch.
just no reason he shouldn't be a top 3 candidate in the MVP race. They play the Jaguars at home, they play the Bills at home, they play the Seahawks, the Titans, the Patriots, the Colts, the Cardinals, the Bills again. Like the Bills are a tough game, but like the Bills defense is Swiss cheese with no Matt Milano.
it's a rough one.
You play the Cardinals in there, that's Swiss cheese. The Patriots, I think the Patriots defense is overrated personally. I know a lot of people think the Patriots defense is great. I think they're overrated. The Titans defense is good. The Seahawks defense I don't think is on shit.
You know,
So
that we're not gonna dive into that, but I don't understand that from people right now. That defense is gonna be really good.
I'll see it and believe it. And the thing is,
Seahawks. I really do believe that.
even what we've seen, though, from the past 2 years, it doesn't really matter how good the defense is. Tua in October, Tua before the middle of November is one of the best
in good
quarterbacks.
weather.
Tua.
Yeah.
Tua cooks. Yeah.
So, I
Yo,
mean,
Tua.
yeah, so I think that value at plus 2,000, I think the cash out 4 or 5 weeks into the season, like you're going to make some money.
Like 100.
You're going to make some money. So I think that's just a good shout since I took the easy way out and went with Pat Mahomes. So who you got, JC?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real too. I also took Patrick Mahomes. Not much to say. It's just the Chiefs. I have a big thought. I think they're gonna 3-peat. I think they'll be the first team to do it this year. There's just
Little
I don't
tasty
know.
Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, it's a Super Bowl pick. There's some other picks out there, but looking at the team, like the team looks better than what it was before back in 2018, 2019. It's kind of insane to say that because that team was very good as well. But I mean, Rashee Rice, you just have people that are speedsters,
Man, we missed
weapons.
Travis Hunter scoring a 41-yard touchdown.
Did he?
Yeah, I
it
didn't
was,
see.
it was cooked.
Didn't even
Told him
survive
bust
it.
down my AP. It's perfect time, man.
North Dakota's keeping up though.
They are. It's a good
They're
game.
playing good.
It's a good game to start.
Deion's
But-
beard looks good.
It does. Deion's fresh, bro. Deion really is.
But yeah,
looks
like I was
old.
saying,
He does.
it's just simple. I mean, I just think Patrick Mahomes There's no one like him. Greatest player all time.
Oh my God! Stop the glazing, bro.
No, you're right. You're honestly right. He is one of a kind.
Yeah, I mean, who? I don't think Lamar will repeat what he did last year, especially with even though I don't think those stats will be as good this year because
His stats weren't even crazy. But
Yeah.
I just don't think he'll win back to back in general.
yeah,
That's
I
out of the
I feel like Stroud has a case. That's like one of my sleepers. I think
you love CJ. You
I
had
love
him as your QB1 in fantasy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think Stroud and Jordan Love are good, fun value picks.
Yeah.
I
So
think.
that was the guy I had originally.
Yeah,
written down.
I think Love and Stroud are kind of just going to be tied together for their entire careers, which is kind of strange because they didn't come in together. But it was kind of both of their rookie years where they kind of put everyone on notice last year,
Yeah.
so they're kind of going to be tied together. And I mean, both of them on very young, ascending teams with good coaching, good structural foundations
Yeah.
that are primed to take another jump this year. So they're both fun picks. I'll give one more shout before we move on, unless you guys have anyone else. But Matt Stafford's a good shout. I think Matt Stafford could pass for 1,000,000 gajillion yards.
He just won't stay healthy, man. At this point, that's why.
Yeah, that's a concern. But if we do get a full 17 out of Matt Stafford, he could lead the league in passing yards
Yes.
easily. So
yeah.
yeah.
with a healthy Cooper Kupp, with punt returner Kyron Williams.
So I also think about it like when I look at the MVP, it's like you need to win your division. Like that has to happen. So like Jordan Love, as much as I wanted to pick him, and I did originally, had a bunch of notes, and I was just like, you know what? No, he's not going to be able to fill the simplest criteria, and that's win the division.
Yeah, but don't you
Because
think
Detroit-
if Jordan Love is really playing at a true MVP level, they'll win the division?
Not-
No.
I
No,
think
Detroit's that good.
If he's
bro.
playing at MVP level, you don't think they'll be
No,
right there?
Because I think Jared Goff could also be playing at an MVP caliber level with a better roster.
I do agree with that as well.
So that's how I feel. Like, and I'm not saying Goff is going to play to Jordan Love's level, but
Yeah, no, the Lions are loaded.
Jared Goff
but-
has more of a margin for error than Jordan Love would in this case. So it's like that team is loaded, like top to bottom loaded Lions. And then the Green Bay Packers are a great team, but I don't even think that
Yeah, but if Jordan Love's playing at an MVP level, that means
No.
like everything's clicking for them.
I
And I feel like you've even said it. If everything's clicking for them, they're a Super Bowl team.
but you could
So
be a
like,
Super Bowl team. And
I
not
know,
win the
I
division.
know, but like if everything's clicking for them, why wouldn't they win the division? No,
I just think Detroit's that good. That's how high I am on Detroit, though.
that's fair.
So-
I guess. Yeah, I mean Detroit, you can make the argument they're the best team in the league. so-
Exactly. So, and look, we're already throwing names out there, so I'll throw one more, the deepest of sleepers. And I know he really won't get mentioned, and you guys might think I'm crazy for this one. The Trevor Lawrence comeback story
Yeah,
is
bro.
happening.
That's a donation to FanDuel, man.
Is happening.
Yeah.
Don't
Plus
do that,
3,000. Plus 3,000
bro. No.
for a man who had like 14 drop touchdowns last year. So I think if you cut down on the turnovers, there's a clear path to division. He's the chosen one. We've always known this. Trevor Lawrence is the goddamn chosen one. And
Is
look,
he the chosen one?
Yes,
though?
he was
He's
the
got
chosen.
a bag though.
He was the He did get a bag. Got a bag.
I'm a big believer in get a bag. You do bad.
Play better after that. I feel like
I mean,
it depends on the
Joe
guy.
Burrow got his bag the year before this year.
Joe Burrow got
He got
hurt.
hurt.
Hey man, it's a curse.
But yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence is the deepest of sleepers, in my personal opinion.
Nah, save your
So-
money. Put your money somewhere else.
No, man. Watch. We'll come back to this when Trevor Lawrence wins MVP. We'll come back.
Nah,
When they win the division and Lawrence wins MVP, 37 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Watch. It's happening. All right. We'll shift gears. We'll go over to the defensive side of the ball, and we'll pick our defensive player of the year. So, Joe Cruz, why don't you get us started, buddy?
So now the only problem I have here is just teams don't. I feel like with depoys, I feel like teams gotta win a good amount of games. But I just think this is his year. He's gonna shine through. So I'm picking Max Crosby as my defensive player of the year. The thing with the Raiders is just they're pretty awful. Gardner Minshew's their starting QB. I mean, you still have Devontae and stuff, and that defense is loaded as well. But
Yes.
I do think a big factor is that they have to win games in order to, you know what I mean?
You got to at least be above a 500 team.
Yeah,
You could be
or
9 and
around
8.
500,
Yeah.
yeah. Even around 500, I would say. But I think this year is just, defense is loaded. I think the offense will stay out like enough time like on the field where like defenses are gonna be able to come in, you know, not like come in like every 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes, make good plays. I think Max Crosby will be a part of those big plays. I mean, I saw even last year he was having a great season, and I just people don't give him his flowers, and I think it's time that the league gets like put on notice that he's one of those big guys and top 3 names in the league for like defensive player wise, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, all the reports in camp is that they literally had to stop practices at points because Max Crosby
Yeah.
was just demolishing everybody. And I don't know if that's more of a slight on the Raiders' offensive line or Max Crosby just being the best defensive player in the world. I'll piggyback off that. I originally did have Max Crosby written down, but like again, I'm looking at criterias here, and you got to be around 500, if not obviously better than 500.
Yeah.
And you really got to have like a top 10 defensive unit. Like, is that always fair to the player? No, not necessarily, but you do typically have to have a top 10 unit. And I worry that the offense is going to keep the defense on the
From
field
being a
way
top
too
10.
much.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the problem. So, going off my Lions picks before, how I just said they're the best team in the NFL, I think Aiden Hutchinson is primed to have a defensive player of the year level season. And his odds are crazy, plus 1,400 for a guy that could end up with 15, 16 sacks on a top 5 defensive unit in the NFL and one of the best teams in the NFL. I mean, he's a Michigan kid through and through. I think there's the narrative there with the NFL starting to push him more as one of those top stars as well. So I think it's Aiden Hutchinson's year with an improved supporting cast around him as well. They got some DBs to help cover the back end, and he has running mates now. And I think that's just that's gonna equate to a ridiculous season for Aiden Hutchinson, who also, this doesn't really matter as much, but he's also great against the run, so he plays all 3 downs. So Aiden's the guy. My defensive player of the year.
So I went with Micah Parsons. I think Micah Parsons is just simply the best defensive player in football, and I think he's gonna just put it all together this year. What stands out about Micah Parsons is he led all edge rushers in total pressures last year with 103. He only played 530 pass rushing snaps compared to like 655 for Aiden Hutchinson, 657 for Max Crosby, 603 for Josh Hines Allen, 607 for TJ Watt. So Micah Parsons' just efficiency and win rate at the line is just unreal. And I mean, just like eye test wise, he's just different with, I mean, his combination of quickness along with the power is something, I don't know if I've ever seen it before. I mean, there's these other guys. Myles Garrett's great. TJ Watt's great. Max Crosby is great. Aiden Hutchinson's great. These guys are all great. But Micah Parsons, just what he brings to the table with his quickness off the line is just different than everyone else. And I've heard some reports that Dan Quinn might use him a little bit off the ball too this year, which I'm very curious to see how that goes. Obviously, I think Micah's best as an edge rusher, but
Just don't understand.
we saw it in Penn State. He's damn good off the ball
He
too.
is, but like,
And the thing is,
He's big though.
if
he's huge.
if he's playing like, I don't know, 12% of snaps off the ball, whatever the case may be, like just a little bit more than it was before, and Micah racks up an interception or two or some pass breakups, you add that along to the double-digit sacks near the top of the league in pass rush win rate. Micah Parsons,
Or you
if he's,
just give him that 12% on pass rushes and he ends up with 23 sacks and breaks a record.
yeah, I mean that could happen too. I just think Micah Parsons could break box scores, like the way he could be used all over the field and with his versatility. But again, like you mentioned, just as a straight up pass rusher, you can make an argument he's the best in the league. And then you look at him compared to all these other guys, just his versatility as just a defensive weapon. I mean, he could do some things that these guys can't do, that if he puts it all together and we see him all over the field, he could put together a season that we've maybe never even seen before on the defensive side of the ball. So
You don't at all concerned that they won't be a top 10 unit?
Defensively?
Yes. I do concern that they will not be
I
top 10.
think they'll be. I think they'll be right about there. I think
Okay.
they'll be right about there.
Yeah.
I think he's so good that they'll be right about there. The Deron Bland injury obviously sucks a little bit, but
Yes.
he'll be back at some point.
Diggs will
Hopefully,
be back too.
yeah. Diggs will be there. You still have D-Law.
Completely forgot about the Deron Bland injury.
Yeah,
6-8
Completely
weeks, right?
forgot about that.
something like that. Yeah,
What was it
Yeah.
again?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Uh,
I know it's
Achilles?
6 to 8 weeks.
I
Though.
think. Oh no. Was it?
It's 6 to 8 weeks. So
In this
But
case, I have no idea. I don't remember, but I forgot he got hurt. Just-
yeah.
That makes it even more puzzling why they didn't re-sign Stephon Gilmore too. Just a side note, but
Gilmore's a free agent, right?
Gilmore just signed.
With
Where did he sign? The Vikings, Minnesota.
yes, you're right.
Signed to Minnesota. Yeah. I mean, look,
Also, who is their DC for the Cowboys? Because you said Dan Quinn, but he's head coach now for the Commanders.
oh yeah,
who got promoted to defense coordinator for them?
It was.
I think it was
someone
an internal hire.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It might have been the defensive backs coach. I forgot his name. But yeah, no. Regardless, number one, fuck the Cowboys. So I'm not gonna pick Micah because fuck the Cowboys. But
oh
numbers-
no, it's Mike Zimmer.
Oh my God, yes.
And Mike Zimmer's been saying that about Micah.
Mike Zimmer is the new DC in Dallas. Wow. That man is old
come
as
from again?
shit, bro. He was the
Minnesota.
Minnesota head coach a while back.
Yeah. I heard
That man is old as
I
fuck.
knew the name was familiar.
Wow. Mike Zimmer, still in the NFL. Shout out the man. But yeah, I don't know. Micah's obvious. He's the favorite, I'm pretty sure, right now, too. So it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, man. Something about Dallas. They're giving me the vibes that they're going to crumble this year. Like, it's just, I don't know. But
I don't know.
all right, we'll flip it right on back. We'll go to Offensive Player of the Year now. We just talked about Defense Player of the Year. Now we jump to Offensive Player of the Year. Chris, you go for it. Start us off. Who's your Offensive Player of the Year?
I went with my dude, my guy. We talked about it before the show. We have the same guy, but it's Bijan Robinson. And Bijan was, I'm not going to lie, pretty underwhelming as a rookie. You know, he didn't even get to 1,000 yards rushing, I'm pretty sure.
I think
Only-
he got 1,007 to be exact.
I think you're right.
I think he
Some
got
numbers saying that.
1,007 to be exact. He just beat 1,000 yards. Like,
969.
what? No way.
Unless the PFF's lying.
Because I swear to God, having him in Dynasty,
Unless PFF's lying.
let me double check that for you right now. Bijan finished with
Yeah.
976.
Yeah, so
Wow.
he didn't even crack 1,000 yards rushing. He had 4 rushing touchdowns. He was underwhelming, but it was talked about all season. The things Arthur Smith did in that offense were
Atrocious.
Criminal.
they were jail crimes. He
Disgusting.
could see jail time for that. And you know, Raheem Morris comes in from Los Angeles. It's going to be very similar to a Sean McVay scheme, and we've seen these Sean McVay schemes for years and years. Support a 3-down running back. I know the reports are that Tyler Algier is going to be heavily involved, but listen, the Atlanta Falcons took Bijan Robinson with a top 10 draft pick. You don't see running backs go that high unless there is a plan to get them the Brock. Bijan's going to be manufactured more touches than he was last year, and honestly, like I mentioned, the box score stats, they're underwhelming for Bijan, but when you really watch a game, it's like the talent's there. This guy's
Yeah.
arguably the shiftiest player in the NFL at the running back position. The way he's able to make people miss, the way he's able to cut up the field, he's a true workhorse in terms of his size, in terms of his pass catching ability. He understands pass protection. This offensive line is good. They're going to move the ball because of Kirk Cousins and the offensive weapons they have. There should be red zone opportunities, and I think Bijan's just in to score a lot of touchdowns and rack up a lot of yards. It's pretty simple for me.
Yeah, I mean, I also, as you said, I took Bijan Robinson, and you mentioned it, the Zach Robinson, Sean McVay type of offense now. I think that's going to change life for them. And, I mean, the one thing Sean McVay has stood consistent with throughout, he loves his 3-down backs. Like, he loves to have a back that never has to come off the field because he runs an up-tempo offense. And I think, I mean, you have a guy in Bijan that is quite literally a 3-down back. I mean, last season, he was a great receiver, already proved that. He could be split out wide, he could play in the slot, and he catches the ball out of the backfield. I mean, I don't think it's out of the question that the man has over 2,000 scrimmage yards. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. So if that happens, if he ends up with like 12 to 15 touchdowns or more too, I mean, bro, he's going to have a ridiculous season. Like, it's in the cards. So I think Bijan's easy. Plus 1,600 too, by the way. Plus 1,600. So.
Yeah, I like Bijan. Don't get me wrong. Just, my guy just. I think he's due. I think he's due for it. I went personally with a plus 1,000 guy. You get it on Sleeper, best odds.
On Sleeper?
No, I meant fantasy.
The fantasy platform, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, who is this?
I took CD Lamb.
Paid.
Yeah.
Wait. What did you just say before? What did you just say before?
QBs and wide receivers.
Oh, okay, all right.
I believe in the QB.
Call you out on your bullshit. Okay, continue. Go
No,
for it.
it's a QB bad luck, not wide receiver bad. Point is, with CD, at least for me, we saw last year he playing out the slot. Guy was elite, lethal, was going crazy all year. If you had CD towards those final stretch of the weeks, he probably won you a fantasy championship too. Like, he was going nuts, and I just think this year, the way Dallas is like coming about, I mean, there's basically no running backs in that backfield. Offense seems weaker, but I just think this is like the team that's gonna throw the crap out of that rock, man. I think CD might be able to go for easily like 1,600, 1,700 yards. I think that's easily. Yeah, I don't even think that's a question.
I mean, that's what he did last year, no?
God, he had 17 last year.
I could see him like setting records.
Records.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Triple
We
crown.
talking Calvin Johnson records?
Yeah,
or?
Triple Crown King. I think he
Jesus.
could. I think he could beat Cooper Kupp's 2021 season. I just think it's all it's all in the cards for him.
Do you remember what Cooper Kupp did that year?
Yeah, he almost. I don't remember the exact numbers. But
was
he
like-
almost beat the record.
So I was looking
He
at
was
it
off
today.
16 yards, right? I think.
Yeah. It was like 145, 1940, and 17 touchdowns or some shit like that. It was unheard of numbers. Like, it doesn't happen. But yeah, I mean,
I think it's all
who
there
else
though.
who else gets the football there?
Yeah, I mean, you look at target share and all that. I feel like CD can easily see like around 500 targets maybe. Yeah, I'm not gonna,
Every pass the Dak throws is going to go to CD.
500?
Not only did he say 500 targets, he said, I think he could easily see 500 targets. This man is going to die.
Reset. Like 250.
Whoa, my God.
No, 250 is not
Like,
realistic.
40%,
170.
45% target
Like,
share.
170 is like a lot. Like, Devontae Adams level. is
Cooper
like a
Kupp,
lot.
when he won the Triple Crown, I think had 200. Like, had 200.
All right, let's say like 175 for them. But he's catching like 150 easy.
Jesus Christ.
He's going nuts. I'm telling you.
Easy. He's doing it easy.
Yeah.
Wow, 500 targets for
To be
CD.
fair, CD Lamb could easily repeat what he did last year. Everything lines up for that. Dak's
I hope
still
so.
there. The offense is still
Pretty good.
lacking other playmakers other than CD Lamb. Dak's shown that he has no problem hyper-targeting CD Lamb. CD Lamb's a special talent who wins in one-on-one. He finds his spots in zone, and he can make you miss in the open field and take a 10, 15-yard completion and take it to the house. He's a complete package, so there's no reason why he can't repeat what he did last year. And to be fair, last year, if a guy named Christian McCaffrey didn't exist, he would have ran away with the Offensive Player of the Year. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good shout.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sedarius.
All right, we'll talk about our rookies now. Offensive Rookie of the Year will stay on this side of the ball. I'll make it short and sweet. It's Caleb Williams. Even if he's not the best rookie quarterback of all time, if he throws, and I'll put it this simply, for 4,000 passing yards, simply because of the narrative that the Bears have never had a 4,000-plus yard passer, Caleb Williams will win Offensive Rookie of the Year because of the piss-poor history of the Chicago Bears at quarterback. I think the narrative is enough. The generational tag is enough that if he just throws for 4,000 yards, he's going to win it. I don't think it's all that complicated. He's in the best situation that we've ever seen a rookie quarterback step into, ever. That is not at all hyperbole. That is fact. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Romo Dunze. And then you have a solid enough offensive line and 3 capable NFL caliber running backs. Like, there's no team that has ever set up a rookie the way he has as the number 1 overall pick, especially. I think Caleb's going to have a great season by NFL standards, and even especially rookie standards. He's going to smash – he might smash rookie records. So, yeah, I think it's pretty easy. I think it's Caleb Williams.
Makes sense.
The thing is, there's a guy who's a lock to smash every rookie record at his position, and it's Marvin Harrison Jr. It's Maserati himself. I see Puka's numbers here. 105 receptions. Cool.
Oh, boy.
1486 yards. Cool. 6 tugs.
He's going double digits.
Marv could go for 115 of them things.
Touchdowns?
No. Reception. 1,500 yards and double-digit tugs and run away as not only the best rookie receiver of all time, but the best receiver in the NFL this season.
Say of all time. All right, brother, you need to relax.
No,
you
but
really need to calm down.
In all seriousness,
Trey McBride exists.
In all seriousness, everything is set up for
5,000.
Marvin to seriously shatter everything Puka did. The situation just lines up so perfectly. I've talked about it time and time again. You get a top 10 quarterback throwing you the ball. You get a quarterback who's shown he could support great wide receivers before. You get a situation where there's not really much competition for targets. Yes, Trey McBride's a really good tight end, but other than that, there's no competition.
But outside of him, yeah.
You know, you get a team that has a lackluster defense that is going to need to put up points to compete in these games, and that's just going to lead to Marvin seeing a larger A-dot. They're going to run him deeper more, and he's going to rack up them yards and get to 1,500. And the cherry on the cake, the whipped cream, the topping, the OB topping is that Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best rookie wide receiver prospect that we have ever seen.
Since Calvin Johnson.
Not only does he get the perfect situation that a guy like Calvin Johnson didn't really get, he gets the perfect situation, and he's the best. I mean, we saw what Jamar Chase did. Marvin Harrison can shatter that. We saw what Puka did. Marvin Harrison can shatter that. 115 receptions, 1,500 yards, double-digit tugs.
Man's going to be up for Offensive Player of the Year in his rookie year.
Marvin Harrison.
Oh, my God.
So, don't get me wrong. I also took Marvin Harrison, but I just, it's just getting to the points. I think, that offense in Arizona, Shane Steichen's the head coach, right? I'm not mistaken.
Shane Steichen is
John
the head
Gannon
coach of the Colts. John Gannon is the head
John
coach.
Gannon, there you go. But, same.
Defensive head coach.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I know they were both from Philly, that's why.
But that offense was elite when Kyler came back.
Yeah, when Kyler came. I mean, it's just, I think it lines up for him, Just, I like Marv. I think he's going to really outperform. Don't get me wrong. I do think, the front runner is Caleb still. I just think for what it is. But I want Marv to win it because that's my boy. I love Kyler.
You just drafted him in fantasy.
Yeah, I love Kyler. It's the Kyler and Marv show. They're going to do their thing this year. If Kyler throws for, let's say 4,500 yards, I'd say easily 1,500, 1,700 of them. And that range is going to Marv.
The thing is, Kyler could throw for that much, not off being talented, which I think Kyler is talented, but off of necessity for the team.
Yeah, and that's a fair argument.
He might lead the league in passing attempts. He might lead the league in passing attempts.
He's never been that volume of a passer.
Yeah, but they might be competing to sneak into the playoffs on the back of their offense throwing the ball.
I think the NFC West
we might see
that defense is too shit.
We might see Dak Prescott level volume out of Kyler Murray, and we've seen what that level of volume could do for fantasy football offenses and just statistics as a whole.
Yeah, he's a good downfield thrower, really good at that matter, but he's never thrown the ball downfield that much. That's why his average yards per attempt throughout his career have never been crazy. So I'm I don't know if 45 is it's attainable, but I don't know if
42 and
42 is likely, I think. Yeah.
Kyler could get to 42 and 1,500 of them still go to Marv.
Yeah. How did it get to
3,800 is so-
3,500?
Greg Dortch exists.
Marv, I'd be shocked if Marv doesn't see 150 plus targets.
I personally think Marv will lead the team in receiving yards, but not receptions. I think Trey McBride will lead the team in receptions.
I just think you're nuts for that.
How?
Because Trey McBride is a good player.
Great.
He's
Elite, actually.
no, bro.
Yes,
no.
he is.
No. He could be elite for fantasy football. Yes. He's a good player. He's one of the better tight ends in the National Football League. Marvin Harrison Jr. was drafted as a generational player, as he is stepping into being an elite wide receiver. He is going to lead the team in targets, bro. There's no world where Trey McBride leads the team in targets and receptions. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't. It's not going to happen, bro.
I don't know.
No, I'm telling you, bro. It's not going to happen. You don't draft a guy at the number 3 overall for him not to lead the team in targets. Number 4 overall, whatever
It's not
the case
that I
is.
necessarily disagree with that. It's just that I think the rapport between Kyle, and I'm sure throughout training camp it's been developed between he and Marvin, but man, Trey McBride was so good down the stretch of last season.
He was.
And
I know, but he got the target share he got because there was no Marv. Marv is going to... Marvin Harrison is going to be the playbook. They are going to make sure they put the ball in his hands.
Okay.
He's going to get the ball. He will. It's not. I'll put. We could do a bet if you want to do a bet. I'll put all the money on Marvin to lead the team in receptions.
I mean, he should.
He should. Right, but you're saying that Trey McBride's gonna.
I think I do. Am I gonna put money on it? Absolutely.
I don't know.
Not.
Are you?
No. No shot. But I do think Trey McBride will lead the team in receptions. I do. Because I think that the targets that will be allocated to Trey will also be more catchable targets than they will be to Marv a lot of the time. I'm not saying that he's going to have more targets than Marvin. I'm just saying that the catch
but the thing is Marvin Harrison is generational. So like the catchable ball rate doesn't really like Marv will be open, bro. Marvel, don't worry about Marv,
We're
bro.
So high on and I know he's the greatest, second greatest receiving prospect ever, but like he is a rookie.
It doesn't fucking matter. He's a 10-year. He's a fucking 21-year-old vet, bro. He's been in this shit since birth. Since birth.
He's only 21.
I don't know. I think so.
Yeah, he's like 21. No older than 21.
No way.
Yes, bro. He only played 3 years in college, so. Yeah, he's 21. I mean it's a fair. I totally understand the choice for offensive rookie of the year. I just think it's Caleb's.
All right, bro.
It's Caleb's to lose. I think it really is, and that's what the.
Yeah, I do agree with that though.
It's Caleb's to lose.
Yeah,
but all right, we move to the other side of the ball. Look, I hate to say it, this one's a little bit less interesting, but this was not a defensive class. It really wasn't. But there were some really good defensive players that were drafted in. What? Oh, no.
No way.
Cramps. I think it's a cramp.
Yeah, it looks like a cramp.
Yeah, it's a cramp. I picked Jared Verse for this award. His odds were plus 1,000. And I'm going to be honest, I put it between two things. I loved Jared Verse, the player at college, in college at Florida State. And I love the Rams and whatever they do. Because every time they draft a player, it seems to be a hit. And I'm going to trust their player scouting, and I'm going to trust that Jared Verse with a role next to a very good defensive line, might I add, and a great pass rush over there in LA. I think Jared Verse has the chance to win the award, and I don't think it's going to have to be the most ridiculous stats. So I think if he ends up with 9 sacks in his rookie year, I think it's good enough to win the award at that point. So I'm going to trust the player, and I'm going to trust the team. So I'm going to pick Jared Verse.
You want me to go? So, I'm gonna pick a different guy actually.
Yeah, you do that.
My defensive rookie of the year at plus 1,400 odds, about the average on every book. Terrion Arnold.
Ooh.
Cornerback on the Lions. Now going back to Matt saying the Lions have a great defensive unit. Bringing in DBs. I think Terrion Arnold, he's a dog. I don't know if you guys saw. I don't know what the report was.
He is a dog.
He had someone asked him. I don't know what the question was, but Terrion Arnold's response was, "If my mom lined up right in front of me,
yes,
I'm sticking her to around 20 yards." So this guy's a dog. He wants it. He wants it bad. And just looking at the lines, man, I really do think I feel like they're gonna take this number 1 seed in the NFC this year. I mean, they have all the tools. Like both sides of the ball are deep, very strong. So I could definitely see like like Aiden Hutchinson, defensive player, and then Terrion Arnold, defensive rookie.
Yeah.
Just make that defense stand out. Make it like it's definitely gonna be a top 10 unit. They're not gonna be overly playing. You know what I mean? So they're gonna get big plays. I think it's just for a rookie, he's going into a really good situation, and I would like to see him win it. That's all.
I went with Chop Robinson. It's a homer pick, but I think Chop Robinson. We talked about it before the show. Chop Robinson kind of has no choice but to be good. Because Jalen Phillips is, starting the season injured. I'm surprised he's not starting on the pup, honestly. I'm surprised he's going to be
injured.
He's going to be good for week 1, but I'm kind of surprised that he is, considering he tore his fucking Achilles.
I have no idea how
When was that?
how that's possible.
Huh?
I thought it was like week 10 or something.
Yeah, but he still tore his fucking Achilles.
He did.
How long was
But
that? Did you say?
Achilles have honestly become quicker recently.
Yeah, but
Which
this is
makes
always,
0 sense.
This is also a guy who's had injuries.
Multiple
Yeah,
throughout
Yeah,
college
true.
as well. Yeah.
yeah, but
He retired from football, bro.
yeah,
Medically retired from football.
yeah.
So-
But Bradley Chubb's also injured
Yes.
going into the season. Shaq Barrett retired the other day, so
Van Ginkel left.
yeah. I mean, Chop Robinson, he's going to be thrusted into a role. He's going to be thrusted hard, and he's kind of going to have to perform. Like I said, we talked about this before the show, and you talk about the Miami Dolphins. They're contingent on Tua Tagovailoa. They're contingent on Tyreek Hill. They're contingent on the play calling of Mike McDaniel. They need Jalen Ramsey to step up in that awesome secondary they have to step up, and the additions they made to the linebacker group. They need those guys to step up, but you need a pass rush to be a successful NFL team, and the pass rush is going to come from Chop Robinson. They literally have no choice
I was
but
about to say,
get.
does it even exist?
They need to get production out of Chop Robinson. There's no other choice. And listen, thus far throughout the offseason, he's looked up to the part. I mean, he came in, he was far and away, in my opinion, the most dominant athlete at the in this draft class from the edge rusher position. Latu was great, put up great stats, but he also had the injury concerns. Jared Verse is a great shout too, but I think Chop Robinson overall is an athlete. I mean, he ran a 4.48 40, which is kind of nuts for someone his size. But again, this is a guy who there's really no competition for snap share going into the season. He's playing with a pretty good group of guys behind him on the back end, And again, I believe in the athletic ability. I believe in the opportunity. You get him at what, plus, I don't even know what the odds are. Plus,
Like close to 2.
sure.
I think he was below Verse. I'm pretty sure.
Plus 1,400.
Okay, there you go.
Plus 1,400. So you get him at plus 1,400. Why not, man? Why not? So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's refined enough his rookie year to go crazy. But as you said, there's no choice.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no
it's
sitting
not like
behind.
it's not like he's gonna get taken off the field if he's not refined enough in week 1. This is a guy who, when they drafted him, it was probably of the impression of we'll get to let him develop, behind these guys for a few years and work out the kinks, but they have no choice but to let him work out the kinks on the field and get better as the season progresses. So I wouldn't be shocked if this is a guy who, as the season goes on in the later weeks of the year, is wrecking havoc for opposing offensive lines.
Yeah. And then one more. Here we go. We move on. Probably, I hate to say it. I'm sorry, coaches. Y'all deserve all the credit in the world, but it's probably the most boring award. You're not on the field, so you don't get to make any splash plays or anything like that. But your decisions can make or break your entire season. And look, staying on trend of what I've been talking about today, my coach of the year is Dan Campbell. For odds at plus 2,500, I thought that was one of the most ridiculous things ever. And I totally understand that the Coach of the Year award typically goes to an overperforming team and the head coach of that team. So I get it. Dan Campbell is not going to be surprising anyone this year with the Detroit Lions. But in a situation where he very well could have won the award last year as well, didn't because of Kevin Stefanski and his genius last year. Dan Campbell and the Lions might go 14-3 or maybe even 15-2 and absolutely dominate the NFL. I really do think this roster, top to bottom, is potentially the best in the entire NFL. And I think there are just certain thresholds where you hit them, where say you have a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense, and you're a 14-3 football team, I'm sorry. It's pretty obvious you're going to have to get the Coach of the Year award. And that's the situation that I think is going to happen this year for Detroit. He's a media darling. Everyone loves him. He's a great press conference. And I think Dan Campbell will pull it off and bite some kneecaps and be able to bite some awards. Coach of the Year.
Yeah, no, I also went with Dan Campbell. I thought it was pretty obvious. I think this is a team that has the ceiling of the best team in the NFL. And you mentioned it, this award typically goes to coaches that outperform their expectations. And the Lions have pretty high expectations. But if they're the best team in the NFL, they outperform their expectations. And there's no reason why he shouldn't win the Coach of the Year. You pretty much hit every other point on that, so I'm not gonna repeat you. But this is a team who has everything on the offensive side of the ball, has worked to get better on the defensive side of the ball. They have culture, they have structure in place, they have a recipe to winning regular season games. There's no reason why they shouldn't continue what they did last year and build off that and win some more games. So yeah, I think Dan Campbell, given the odds, why the hell not?
2,500.
Yeah, why the hell not?
Nuts.
I went with a similar situation too, actually, but my guy has only plus 1,400 odds, and that's D'Amico Ryans of the Houston Texans.
Houston Texans.
Bro, I can't speak. Bro, even today at work, bro, I couldn't speak fucking English, bro. I don't know what the fuck was going on.
It's a rough day.
Yeah, but point is,
Day.
You're tired.
Yeah, I'm very exhausted today too.
so I went with D'Amico Ryans. I just, looking at that Houston team, CJ, Tank, Nico, that offense in general, it's stacked, Defense too, it's young, it's strong.
It's sexy.
It's sexy, sexy Dexy type. But
Yeah, baby.
But like I said, I'm not. We kind of know what we're expecting. We're expecting like a top 4 team in the AFC. At least that's what I'm expecting.
They should be.
Because they're gonna most likely win the division. I don't think anyone really gives them a run for their money.
Trevor Lawrence.
No, that's not. I don't think Trevor Lawrence gives them a run for money. I think Texans should win the division. Just see how far their record. This team to me is easily around 11-6, 12-5. I think their floor is 10 wins. I don't think they go below that. We kind of know what we're getting with D'Amico Ryans, but I think he's gonna show that he could really put this team over the edge, and that's where I think the 12-5 kind of comes in place. And that's pretty much it. Plus 1,400. It's not a dark, shot in the dark. I think you take your chances with it. See how he starts off the season. With Coach of the Year, I don't think it's really something like you bet on for.
It's the most difficult to win, probably
exactly.
bet on. So
you could definitely start off the first 8 weeks. Texans could easily go like 6-2, 7-1, and maybe cash out an extra $50 that you didn't have before.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right, honestly. And not to mention, I mean, D'Amico Ryans. We talked about culture with Dan Campbell. Talk about a quick turnaround of culture.
Oh yeah,
I mean, D'Amico Ryans did it in a couple seasons. Of course, CJ Stroud helped.
1 season.
But he had that one really bad year, his first year. But like, was he
that was his
oh my
first year.
God,
That was his first year.
you're right. He was hired at the same time as
drafted
CJ
Stroud.
Stroud coming in and getting drafted. Wow. I mean, D'Amico established the culture pretty quickly there, and CJ Stroud helped. But that dude has long been a dog. I do want to give a little dark horse. You said Max Crosby for your defensive player of the year, and we're talking about culture changers. Antonio Pierce. I mean, look, I don't think the Raiders are a great football team, but if they somehow managed, and I know Jason Pickles is high on the Raiders, so if they somehow managed to go 9-8 or 10-7 with the roster that they currently have, especially offensively, Antonio Pierce will definitely be up for discussion and potentially even win Coach of the Year. That's all I'm throwing out there. And plus, former Giant, absolutely love that man. So
I'll throw another shot in the dark. I just love this guy, especially last year, what he did with the offense he was on. I like Dave Canales a lot.
Yep.
I think on the Panthers last preseason game they showed out like what the offense is kind of gonna scheme out.
Bryce Young looked
I
like a
think
different player.
He
Bryce
really
Young
did.
looks different. The O line looks good. You have like a wide, a competent wide receiver room now. Thielen gets help. You have Deontay. I think Xavier Leggette's gonna nothing crazy, but I think he'll be fine in
I
the
love
league.
that, man.
I don't know how I feel about him yet, but I think he's gonna do good for them at least. So
I don't necessarily love him as a player,
I mean,
but
if look at what Dave Canales did with Baker Mayfield last year, just turned around his career. He looked like a competent starting QB.
the year prior, Geno Smith.
Yeah, Geno Smith before that too. It's just he looks good, man. And
Dave
I
Canales is on a tour.
think if there's anyone that you could, that's gonna bring out the dog in Bryce Young per se, it's gonna be Dave Canales. I could definitely see him pushing almost 500, 7 wins maybe
Ooh.
even 8 wins. I think if I think that would be enough for Dave Canales to win the Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the team with the lowest expectations in the NFL. So,
exactly.
yeah, that would be an easy outperform. But, like, bro, that roster is still very bad. Defensively, especially.
Yeah, defensively it is really bad. I mean, besides J.C. Horn, Brian Burns leaving. I can't name anyone else besides J.C. Horn.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So, that's why, like, as much as I would love to say Dave Canales, and I think he can turn a page on Bryce Young,
Yeah.
I don't think it's time for them to turn a page for the Panthers yet, because
I
that
agree.
team is just so devoid of talent still on the defensive side of the ball that it's like, how much does the offense improve to make them a good football team? That's the thing. So, but I love Dave Canales. I mean, look, 2 reclamation projects, and now he's got a 3rd on his hands. So, if he can make this happen, he really might be the quarterback whisperer. Like, we might just have to say for sure, like, he's the guy. But yeah.
Well, just a quick, I don't think Bryce Young was ever like a bad player. I just never think he got a full chance,
While I do agree with you, he was really, really fucking bad last year. And I get that the opportunity around him wasn't exactly good, but like, and maybe it was just the fact that he got jittery behind a bad O-line with underwhelming weapons, but there were consistent times that Bryce Young was just missing easy throws, like easy gimme throws. And I just hope that that's not indicative of what Bryce Young's career is going to be, because coming out, you loved him, I loved him. Like, Bryce really was that dude. But look, I hope Dave Canales brings that out of him. I mean, I'd love to see Bryce Young succeed.
Me too, man.
Especially because of the pressure that's put on him now with CJ being as good as he is. Like, Bryce Young better be good.
I mean,
So-
it's very simple, man. Protect him and let him get out there and let him cook, man. Let him get out of structure and let him cook. And I think they did as good of a job as they could have done to ensure he could do that. They
Yes.
Yeah, the O-line looked good
spent
in that.
heavily on the offensive line, and then you go get him a guy who's a great route runner and who, more than just Deontay Johnson's ability to get open and run routes, he's a guy who knows how to find the ball. When the play breaks down, when things get out of structure, he knows how to come to the ball. He knows how to find the creases in the defense. And Deontay Johnson, I don't know if there's any stats or anything where you could go and look to see this, but I'm sure if there was, in terms of just like out of structure and being open and getting the ball when the play breaks down, he's one of the best in the league, honestly, in that regard. So I think
He's the QB's best friend.
yeah, I mean, Deontay Johnson's skill set just pairs up with everything that you want Bryce Young to be. So obviously there's still holes on the team, but if Dave Canales is who we think he is and Bryce Young is who he was drafted to be, then yeah, this team should see a big turnaround, and maybe a big enough turnaround that surprises some people, and Dave Canales puts his name in that conversation.
Wait, quick pause. Terrell Owens has 6 Super Bowl rings?
No.
I swear to God, that's just what just happened on the screen.
No. T.O. does not have 6 Super Bowl rings. I actually don't even think T.O. has 1 Super Bowl ring, to be honest
Oh,
with
so
you.
maybe 6-time Pro Bowler is. Or
Yeah, or All-Pro.
All-Pro,
Probably.
yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I will ask this one question. If there is one team in the NFL that you guys think is going to completely shatter expectations, who do you think it'll be?
A team that'll completely shatter their expectations.
Be it in a good way or a bad way. I'll ask you. You could pick either one. Either they underwhelm or they absolutely outperform expectation.
Well,
Just the public view of what a team is right now overall. So that's what I'll ask.
I think me personally, I'd go with the Chargers in a good way, because I think people are expecting a heavy run game and all that, but I think the Chargers are gonna set the tone with that run game. Like right now, I feel like the Chargers are on the cusp of, I don't know, 500 maybe.
Okay.
I feel like that's their expectation.
You think they could definitely outperform?
I think they could outperform that. I think if everything goes right, I could see them getting 10 wins. Honestly, it's a stretch, but like I think they could outperform that. I think they could be playing for a wild card spot. Even no, the AFC's stacked. Don't get me wrong,
It is.
but I think come down to the crunch time, I think they could be playing for a wild card spot. I just I get the whole thing with like the wide receiver room is weak.
It's not just
tight ends suck. Running backs are, I mean, J.K. Dobbins coming off his like third fucking
His
season.
knee is cooked.
Yeah, I don't see him doing much long. Gus Bus, he's just getting old. I think that rookie though, wasn't it
Kamani Vidal.
Yeah, people say he's gonna be good, but the offense does look weak. But I just don't see. I don't think that holds Justin Herbert back that much. I think you still have a good enough offense. Justin Herbert could run the ball well too. I could definitely see them like playing for a wild card spot, which in my opinion is what shatters their
expectation.
Yeah, shattered expectation because people they just see it. I guess you could consider a retooling, but just a down year. They're trying to kind of rebuild. I don't really know how to explain it. They're just like they just don't got a lot of tools right now.
I think that's a great pick, honestly, because everywhere Jim Harbaugh goes, success follows. Like everywhere he goes, success follows. So I think that's a really good pick.
Like even in some of the preseason games, like you were watching like the O line and like the tight ends and receivers around, like when they were running the ball, like Glad was like straight up dogging people.
Glad's been dominating in camp apparently. Too,
yeah,
so.
and he was like guys like 185, I think like 5'10", so like he was like the team wants it. The team wants they're throwing out blocks. I think the Chargers could definitely make some noise come playoff time. Even if they don't make a playoff spot, definitely like ruin someone. Someone's
Jim Harbaugh's a dog.
Yeah,
he's got that dog mentality. That is one thing I will tell you that. So I like that one.
I think there is a culture shock there.
Yes, 100%. Going from Staley, who had no idea what the fuck he was doing, to arguably one of the best and most accomplished coaches. So, what do you think?
I don't know. I think the Steelers, in a negative way, maybe. I think people are expecting the Steelers to be around that 500 range, and that's kind of where I'm predicting them too. But I also think,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I know Mike Tomlin is the only reason that people are predicting this shit for the Steelers. So like.
And a great defense.
You look at the roster, though, like, this could easily be a 6-win team. This could easily be a 5-win team.
1,000,000%.
100%.
I think this is a 6-win team, but
Arthur Smith could come there and completely fall on his face and, build off in a negative way what he did last year with Atlanta and keep being on the decline. Like, this offense could not improve with Russell Wilson / Justin Fields. They're
horrible.
Yeah, I think they're a team that could easily underperform relative to their expectations. So I'll go with the Steelers here.
Yeah, I agree with the whole they're a 6-win team, but because of Mike Tomlin, it's like
they're an 8-win team. They're an 8-9-win team.
Yeah. Just because of Tomlin. Yeah.
He's a dog though.
For sure.
He crunches out wins that just don't make sense to crunch out. I also it's just one of those teams too. I look at the division, Mike Tomlin isn't going to allow the team to get swept, I feel like he's going to split.
Well, are they going to be able to go 5-1 against the division again?
I can't see that
happening.
I
can definitely see them still going 3-3. It's just one of those teams that, when you play your division.
But 3-3, that's 2 extra losses.
10-7?
Yeah, that's 3-3. That's 2 extra losses compared to what you have last year. Then you lose a game or 2 extra out of division. There you go. There's 6 wins right there. I don't know. They're a team that I think they're just due for regression at some point.
It makes no sense because
I think the Mike Tomlin era has to come to an end soon.
At some point, right?
Yeah, and as much as he's a good head coach,
I guess they're just waiting for him to not have a winning season. It's just we can't fire you. You had another winning season.
And even if he does have a losing season, you can't fire him.
Yeah. I
Like
agree
he's
with
one
that.
of those guys that it's like it's surpassed
down
the
year.
it's surpassed the like we're gonna fire you. It's we now have to mutually agree to part ways. Like we're gonna come to you and say, look, we do kind of want to move on from you, but like if you don't want to move on from us, we can't fire you.
Well, to be fair, he definitely wouldn't want to move on until he has that first losing season.
Yeah, and I completely agree, and I 100% think that's the truth.
Yeah.
If he does have that losing season, I think he's going to be ready to move it forward.
Yeah,
Because he considered it this offseason, I'm pretty sure. There were reports that, like, he was ready to move on from the Steelers this offseason. So, once that losing season comes, bro,
Definitely changes.
it's going to be a change in Pittsburgh for sure. Yeah, those are interesting takes. I'm glad we did one overperform and one underperform. But, yeah, all right. That's everything for today. Just the simple awards predictions. So next week, we're not going to be recording on Tuesday. We're going to be recording on Monday.
They'll see it Tuesday.
What happened?
They'll see it
Oh, you
Tuesday.
guys will see it Tuesday. Okay, but we're going to be recording on Monday. I hope you guys have a great Labor Day weekend. Have all the fun in the world. Enjoy college football for this weekend, and then NFL football will be starting next week. We are so close. Next Monday will be our full playoff predictions. Tom will be back in JC's seat right there. We're excited to do all that. Football's here, guys. It's happening.
Make sure you guys check out the Patreon. Like I said earlier, we're going to have some deep fantasy football sleepers on our Patreon account. You sign up for $2 or $4, you get access to one extra weekly video from us. This week it's going to be deep fantasy football sleepers. It's Labor Day weekend. You guys all have your drafts, so we're going to try and help you out for those last few rounds. So check that out. The link's going to be in the description here. Sign up for the Patreon. Drop some of your teams in that Patreon chat if you guys are a member. Maybe we'll react to them for a Patreon video next week. We're going to have start and sits. We're probably going to put those in the Patreon for week 1 of NFL. So make sure you guys sign up for that Patreon. We're going to have a lot of stuff for you in there for week 1 of the NFL season. Betting picks, fantasy football advice, all that fun stuff. We'll react to your teams, all that juggle. So hit the link in the description. Sign up for the Patreon. It means a lot to us. We appreciate the support. It all goes back into making content for you guys and giving you guys the content you want. So,
yeah, well said. Please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all of our socials, do all that good stuff. And, of course, as he said, the Patreon. Be sure to go check that out. Content coming soon. So we'll see you next week. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend. And with that,
BallGame.
What?
BallGame?
Okay, do it again.
BallGame.
All right. I thought we were doing it at the same time.
All right, and with that,
BallGame.
BallGame.